Hey everybody, I'm at my mayor's message, and last month my jaw was locked up, and I had Chief Scesney kind of fill in for me and do it. Well, I didn't want my good friend Chief Fite to get offended or hurt his feelings, so I've invited Chief Fite and Chief Scesney today so we can chat a little bit. So, first off, I want to go to Chief Fite and let him talk to us a little bit about something that's dear to my heart. And Chief, let's just go ahead and talk about cancer among firefighters and what this month means to the firefighters.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for having me. And yes, I really was offended last month. I mean, the rookie police chief, and
Yeah, and you've been here forever.
I've been here 10 years, going on 10 years, and I said, all right, I get it. The new pretty boy in town, but thank you for the cancer lead off. January is Firefighter Cancer Month awareness, and since I've been your chief for about the last 10 years, we've had 2 firefighters die of cancer. We've had dozens have cancer, and what we finally know, and it took generations to finally figure this out, it's not that we're breathing the smoke in, it's we're absorbing the smoke through our skin. We never knew that. We always thought our gear protected us, but what we did know is that pressurized smoke gets in our gear, we absorb it, gets into our kidneys, and years of that puts us at risk. And so just being a firefighter, just choosing this profession adds about a 10% additional risk to cancer. Well, everybody in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, you're already at about a 20 to 22% risk. So you add 10% on top of being a firefighter, that's a third of us will fight cancer sometime in our career. So we're leading the charge in Grand Prairie on cancer prevention protocols and some of our safety protocols, but it is a huge deal for our profession. We're not dying in buildings, we're not dying in other things, we're getting cancer. And so we're trying to make a difference, and I'm hoping as generations move forward, the bravado of the dirty gear and having the dirty, smoky look, that's gone. And we're making strides.
Yeah, I understand we have cleaning things at every fire station. You have 2 sets of gear now that you used to not have.
Yep.
Walk us through that just real briefly.
Yeah, we do have 2 sets of gear. So let's just take a routine fire. The firefighters go in, they get exposed, their gear is dirty. We're actually putting that gear in a plastic bag and sealing it. We're not touching it ever again with our hands. We go back to the station, we immediately shower, get all the contamination off of our skin, and we have a second set of gear. Clean, ready to go, and we get that second set of gear and just move on to the next call while we clean that dirty gear. And then, like you said, every fire station has what we call an extractor, which is a technology-driven, huge washing machine that is specially designed for our gear. And that's just one of many things, but that is the key element, is getting that dirty gear off of us.
Okay, I'll come back to you, but on some other things. But before I go to Scesney, I want to tell you how proud I am of you in taking the leadership role in this. And we've talked about it many times, and I had no idea this was an issue until you brought it to my attention.
Well, you and the council have been so supportive, and you've been very open-minded on it too. You've enjoyed the sessions we've had, and you've really taken an active interest. So our firefighters know you do care, and we appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
You bet.
Scesney, I mean, you were with me last month, but I want the citizens to kind of get an overview of, let's just talk about where we are with the crime.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me on the show. I'm sorry that you got bullied and felt guilty and having bring Robert. As we all know, he has a face for radio, and I thought he was going to be getting cats out of trees this morning. So but glad that he's here, and I love you, Robert. Crime's down quite a bit. We are down almost another 10% this year. That's over the 8% last year. I'm very, very proud of our officers. They are policing our community at a time where it is very difficult with COVID and a whole host of other things, and they are not taking their foot off the gas pedal. So they're doing very, very well. They're leveraging some technology that's now available. We're using evidence-based policing strategies. And then, of course, we're continuing our community policing strategy and building community trust. It's been very, very effective. And I'm sure at some point the pendulum will start to swing, but right now we are just riding a tidal wave of good news as it relates to our crime rate.
Well, I'm confident, seeing how hard y'all work and the new recruits. I just met the new recruits, that even when the pendulum swings, we will stay ahead of our peers around our area.
I have no doubt about that, Mayor. In fact, we are recruiting the best and brightest from all over the United States. We have officers in our academy right now that came in from the East Coast, the West Coast, and the Midwest, everywhere across the country. They're hearing about Grand Prairie Police Department. They want to be a part of what we're doing here, and it's something very exciting. It's a good time to be a Grand Prairie police officer.
Well, thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Chief Fite, let's talk a little bit about the new change this year on the shifts.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the word recruiting. So this is part of a recruiting process for us. We went away from a traditional 24-48 firefighter schedule that I think we've been doing since the early 60s, I found out. And we have migrated to what we're calling the 48-96 schedule, which means our firefighters, your firefighters, will be here 48 straight hours and then off for 96 or 4 days. This is becoming a nationwide trend that is coming from our west and sweeping across the country, and now it's at Texas. And so we're going to use this and leverage our new schedule that our firefighters voted in on themselves. I had some hesitation because if it's not broke, why are we fixing it? But the firefighters wanted it. It was a 74% vote.
Wow.
And you know, to get a firefighter group to vote anything at 74%, how do you ignore that?
Right.
So we're going to try it for a year, reevaluate it, make sure there's no loopholes we're missing, revote, and think about 2023 where we head. But it is a very popular schedule with firefighters to have those 4 days off to rest and recover and family and have those core things that we all find important. And so we'll see how it goes.
Well, good. Thanks for that update.
Yep.
Scesney, in closing with the on the police side, I just met some recruits. How's our recruiting going? Where are we at on that, and how many laterals do we have? Talk a little bit to our citizens about that.
Sure. So I can tell you that it's a very difficult time to recruit in law enforcement today. We're seeing far more lateral police officers coming in than basic officers. That used to be the reverse. The good news is Grand Prairie Police Department is a very desirable police department, so we're attracting the very best and the brightest. And it's not just because of the police department. You know, Robert and I like to joke back and forth, but our brothers in red are very, very supportive. I love Robert like he's my brother. Our council is very supportive. Our citizens are very supportive. So it's a great place to work. And quite honestly, we have officers from all over the country, from other departments that are recruiting for us. So we're attracting the best and the brightest, but make no mistake, law enforcement is in a very difficult time right now. And it's not just the police officers, it's the dispatch center, our detention center, and across the board. So we're hanging in, but we have our challenges for sure.
Thank you. In closing, folks, listen, not every city enjoys what we have here in Grand Prairie. Not every city, the fire and police get along. I could tell you stories. Not going to, because I don't want to throw neighboring cities under the fire engine. But we're very fortunate here. We do have departments to get along. I appreciate these two men and what they do for our city and what they mean to our city. They protect us 24/7.